Welcome to another Cardano update. Like always, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. And in this video, I want to mainly talk about Bitcoin and Bitcoin dominance. There's something new that you need to see, and yeah, please watch this video because it's kind of important. But before we do that, we have to talk about the short term on Cardano as well, because this is a Cardano video after all. So what we have over here, this could easily turn into a much bigger A, B, C structure for the B wave. To confirm that something like that is not the case, we need to stay above the moving average on the 4-hour. As you can see, we got above it, I think, yesterday, and then we had a short-term pump, but this is not enough to confirm that the low is in. We still need to get a 5-wave move to the upside, and honestly, this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4 setup, maybe, and maybe we're gonna get the 5th wave. If that's the case, that's gonna confirm that the low is in, but we still need to get above this local high, which is at 60.4 cents, and then above this high, and then we have to complete the 3rd wave up there, which is the 3rd wave of this 1-2 setup here, and we're actually working on the C wave of the 3rd wave right now. The C wave will need to go up in 5 waves, and maybe we're working on the first 1-2 setup here. Like I said, the 1st wave is not already in, so I'm expecting another high and then a move to the downside, and then we could start the 3rd wave of the 3rd wave, get above these local highs. For example, this one is going to be important. It's at 60.8 cents. We already got above it over here in the A wave high, but as you can see, there was some resistance in this area, and this is exactly where we got rejected as well. So we still have to break above this red line and then above the 1618 resistance level of the 1-2 setup, which is at 65.1 cents. And then above this high, which is at 65.8 cents, to completely break out of the downtrend and maybe to even be able to confirm that something more bullish is going on. Other than that, we're still waiting for the cross on the bull market support band. We've been waiting for that cross for quite a long time at this point, and I know it's boring, but it is what it is, and at some point this is gonna have to, happen, so we're just waiting for that. And other than that, if you want more about the 4-hour, we have a trend line on the RSI. As you can see, the RSI is still in an uptrend, which is good. So if for some reason we drop below the moving average right now, there is another chance to bounce at the trend line, but dropping below the trend line would suggest that we're going lower, and maybe we'll even invalidate this AB structure here. And if that happens, we're most likely getting another low, which could put us back to like 45 cents. So that's the worst case scenario right now, and we'll see what happens in the short term. Now, I want to go on the Bitcoin chart because many people do not understand this, but in order for Bitcoin dominance to start breaking down, Bitcoin kind of has to start going up first. And as you know, well, I talked about this structure many times. I will quickly talk about it again just so you have some context. And basically here we went up, then we went down. We went down to about 25k, then we went up for 6 months, and then we dropped again. We went down to 50k, then we went up for 6 months again, and then we went down to 75k, and now we're going up again. And I think the next low will most likely be 100k, just to continue this pattern. I think you already know the story, but I'm expecting Bitcoin to continue going up. Here, like I said, we went up for about 170 days. If you take this low right here in April, if we go up for another 170 days after that low, that would put us in September of 2025. So I think Bitcoin will still continue to go higher, and then at some point in September, we get another drop in the 4th wave, which puts us at like $100,000. And then everybody's gonna think the bear market started, and what you know, after that we'll get the 5th wave and probably top around $200,000. So for the short term, I still think Bitcoin will go higher. This is my target region for the main 3rd wave. I'm sorry, the 5th wave of the main 3rd wave. It could easily overextend between $120,000 and even $162,000. Now let me talk about what I really want to talk about, and that is Bitcoin dominance and Bitcoin at the same time. And for that, I need to overlay the Bitcoin dominance chart on the Bitcoin chart, just so we can get an understanding of when the altcoin season actually started in the previous cycles. And first, let's talk about the first altcoin season, which was in 2017. if you take a look at this, when Bitcoin was already at all-time highs back here in, let's say, 2015 or even, actually no, 2016, during this time, Bitcoin dominance was just going sideways, nothing was really happening. Now, take a look at when Bitcoin dominance actually started dropping. By the way, Bitcoin dominance is the red line on the chart in case you did not get that. Take a look at when Bitcoin dominance started dropping. It started dropping exactly when Bitcoin got to its previous all-time highs, and then it still went higher, but as you can see, Bitcoin dominance went down during that time, but this only happened when we broke above the previous all-time highs. When we went from like $1,000 all the way up to like $19,000, Bitcoin dominance was still dropping. So for those saying that Bitcoin dominance cannot drop when the Bitcoin chart is going up, that's just simply wrong. It can drop, and this is a good example over here. So yeah, here the altcoin season only started when Bitcoin started going to all-time highs again. Now let's take a look at the previous cycle. Let's see what happened over here. Let's first take this highs, and well, as you can see here, when Bitcoin got to like $12,000 over here and then it started going down, this is when Bitcoin dominance actually started going down as well, and then we went a bit higher. But if you actually take a look at when Bitcoin dominance started dropping like crazy, it was over here in December of 2020 when Bitcoin was already above its previous all-time highs of 2017. So Bitcoin dominance only started breaking down when this move right here happened. The altcoin season did not happen in this period over here. The altcoin season pretty much happened in this period instead. And yeah, Bitcoin dominance started dropping exactly over here when Bitcoin was at $28,000. If you take a look at where Cardano was during that time, in December of 2020, Cardano was pretty much over here at about 20 cents, and Bitcoin was at about $28,000. ADA Bitcoin, on the other hand, if you take a look at December of 2020, was pretty much at 500 satoshis, whereas ADA Bitcoin right now, it's at 500 satoshis, whereas Bitcoin right now, it's at pretty much all-time highs, and it's above the previous all-time highs. However, if you look at Bitcoin dominance is also at cycle highs, just like it was in the 2021 cycle over here. So at some point, I think when Bitcoin finally gets to all-time highs again, that's when we're gonna see a big dominance drop, and that will only happen when we get a crazy wick to the upside, which could happen soon, just because we're about to end the third wave right there. There is a chance we get a crazy wick, and that puts us at like, let's say $150,000, and then Bitcoin starts dropping, and during that time, Bitcoin dominance will continue to fall as well, which could just copy what it did in the 2021 cycle, and this even happened in 2017 cycle as well. Right here, as you can see, we actually had this move to the downside. We went from $1,300 to about $800, and Bitcoin dominance was still dropping during that time, even though it started dropping over here first when Bitcoin was at new all-time highs. So this move that we're expecting on the Bitcoin dominance chart will only start when Bitcoin starts going up again. Speaking of that, Bitcoin just had a cross on the bull market support band, and I keep talking about this in every single video, but we also had a cross over here when Bitcoin was at $62,000, and look at what happened after that. We went up about 2x. Now, we also had one right here. If you zoom in on this, we had one when Bitcoin was at around $28,000. Look at what happened after that. We went up like 3x. We also had a cross over here. Bitcoin was at like $25,000. It went a bit lower, but then look at what happened. We went from $15,000 all the way up to like $30,000. And this only happened after we had a cross on the bull market support band. And right now we had a cross on the bull market support band yet again. So people could call me crazy for this, but it's just the exact same pattern every single time. And I don't think it's gonna change anytime soon. I think Bitcoin will still get to around $250,000 by the end of the year, and that has always been my prediction. I'm not gonna change my prediction. And yeah, whenever Bitcoin starts going up, that's most likely when Bitcoin dominance would start falling, because that's when Ethereum will finally start outperforming Bitcoin. And speaking of Ethereum, Ethereum is ready to start a third wave right here of this 1-2 setup. As you know, the third wave is the most impulsive, so this could be the perfect time for Ethereum to start outperforming Bitcoin and for Bitcoin dominance to start falling, which is gonna lead to a big dominance drop, which could lead to an altcoin season. So that's all I have. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to check out our YouTube memberships and our Patreon if you want access to all of our charts, and if you want access to our daily Discord updates. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.